Well, the other issue was always what you had mentioned earlier was growth. Very
Yes.
much into growth.
Yes.
And forgetting about joy.
And now you understand that you cannot cease to expand, so that's sort of a non-issue, isn't it?
Yes.
What makes growth so important? What makes the idea of you moving forward? Do you think it is because you're wanting the accolades of others? That as man measures man, you're wanting some comparative experience?
Sometimes.
You see, we think the comparative experience is a wonderful thing in the sense that it's data that helps you to identify your own personal desires. But when the comparison makes you feel bad, it is not serving you. When the comparison makes you feel inspired or calls you, then it is serving you. Depends on how it makes you feel, isn't it?
Yes.
So, where are we here? What have we come to? What is it that you really want to know?
I just wanted more clarity on the...
How can I stand where I am, living the experience that I'm living, which is slightly different from the experience that I would like to live, and not let what I'm living dominate my vibration? We say there are a few ways you can do that. One is remember when things were different. Another is pretend that things are different. Another is change the subject altogether, looking at the things that are in your life that are a vibrational match to what you are now wanting. And now today we're talking a little differently. We're saying if there is something in your experience that is present, really present, so that it gets a lot of your attention, and it's not a vibrational match to where you want to be, then it is really worth discovering what the emotion is that surrounds it, and then working up the emotional scale. Now we want to say something to you that we think you are ready to hear. We think many of you are ready to hear it, and that is, we talked earlier about Jerry and Esther traveling from Phoenix to San Diego, and how it's simple to contemplate such a journey because it is a quantifiable journey. It's so many miles. They know how long it will take. They know what equipment they have. It's not a difficult thing to envision such a thing. But what happens to so many of you when you have, for example, as you say, a physical condition that is different than what you want to live, or even a financial condition that's different than what you want to live, or a relationship experience that's different than what you want to live. And when we say to you, how will you make this an emotional journey? What we mean by that is what hangs so many of you up is you say, well, here I am standing in this place where my physical body does not feel well, and I want to get over there to a place that my physical body does feel well. And then you say, I need to figure out, our friend earlier wants to know how, where, when. In other words, how will I go about accomplishing this? And when you ask those questions that you don't have answers to, then what happens is you begin offering a vibration that is more the resounding of the lack of it than what you are wanting. So we're beginning to say to you that we want you to realize that when you're moving from not enough money to more money, or a body that doesn't feel good to a body that feels good, you want to take an emotional journey. You want to make your effort be about the emotion, not about the action. Now, here's the difference in the two journeys. The action journey would be, well, my shoulder is hurting. In fact, it's hurting quite a bit these days, and I am wanting to attract someone who can guide me to an exercise that will help to strengthen these muscles so that I will have relief of this. Or, my shoulder is hurting, and I'm wanting to attract a therapist who understands my physical body and can provide some sort of manipulation so that I can get the results that I want. Or, my shoulder is hurting, and I'm wanting to attract some surgeon who has had success with other people. And so when you think about these action journeys, very often because you don't know where to go, you don't know what results to get. You've heard of people having surgery. The results haven't been all that good. You know somebody who goes to a chiropractor, but they have a different condition than you do. You've tried exercise. Nothing much has changed. So every time you try, it seems, to take that action journey, you sort of get dead-ended somewhere because there's something from your past experience or from your now belief about it that gets in your way. So you just sort of spin here for a long time. I want to be in a different place, but I'm not. I want to be in a different place, but I'm not. I want to be in a different place, but I'm not. when you decide that you're going to take an emotional journey, you can take it in a couple of minutes. We can achieve it here together. And what the emotional journey is, I want to release my frustration at not being able to get my shoulder feeling better and replace it with a sense of hopefulness. Can you hear the difference? In other words, I'm just wanting to talk to myself so that I feel a little more hopeful and a little less stuck.
Yeah.
We like to say to our friends when they feel stuck that there's no such thing as stuck. And then they always argue with us because surely they feel that they are stuck. And we say, you can't be stuck because you are offering vibration. You can't stop it. And vibration is always in motion. And then they say, no, I'm pretty sure that I am stuck because nothing is changing. And we say, it's not possible for you to be stuck because you're offering a constant vibration and things are constantly changing. And they say, no, I'm pretty sure that I'm stuck. And we say, you can't be stuck, but what's happening is things are changing, but because this is the drum you're beating, they're changing, but they're changing to the same thing. Now, doesn't that make sense to you? Things are changing, but they're changing to the same thing. It would be like a radio broadcast playing the same song over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. In other words, it's changing, but it's changing to the same thing because that's the drum that you're beating. So, would you say that the emotion that you feel around this physical discomfort is frustration? Would you feel that it is powerlessness? In other words, where on the emotional meter is your set point relative to this subject?
I would say it's hopeful. I've been frustrated, and it is hopeful.
Did he feel hopeful when he began? It's all right, but you didn't feel very hopeful to us either. In other words, you felt as if this is the way that it is. So now, speak to us in terms of being hopeful. In other words, offer us some words about how you feel hopeful about us, and let us feel if the vibration that is where you are matches the words that you are speaking. Sometimes this is what happens. You say, I'm sure I'm hopeful, but the vibration isn't there, and then you don't get hopeful results, and then you think that the universe is forsaking you. And we say it's always a confusion on your part about where you're vibrating, because where you're vibrating always matches what you're getting every single time. You know, you could relax. It would not matter what bodily condition you have. We're not kidding you about this. You could relax and release resistance and bring yourself into a place of vibrational alignment with the well-being that is flowing to you and through you. And all disease, all illness, without exception, would lift from you in the moment of your release. The reason you don't do that instantly is because you've practiced the familiar vibration that is the familiar resistance that is the result that you are getting. So it takes looking at it sort of steadily, and it takes you noticing that you feel an improvement emotionally. Now, the thing that's tricky about something once it is manifested in your physical body is that once it's manifested, you're more likely to notice it, and you're more likely to notice it as it is. We say to our physical friends, they don't like it very much, but we keep saying it anyway. We say, if you have resistance and you don't know you've got it, so you don't recognize the emotion and reach for the relief and do something about releasing the resistance, then don't worry, it will get more. Because whatever you are offering vibrationally is being answered by everything that matches it. And the more it is being answered, then the stronger the reverberation of that vibration is. If you still don't notice it and do something about it, it will get more until eventually it will move from what you would call the emotional sensation to what you would call the physical sensation. It becomes a bodily feeling. It becomes something that you would describe as a headache or a muscle ache or even a muscle spasm or even a stomach ache or something like that. And if you still feel the emotion, but you don't do anything about it, you don't do anything about releasing the resistance, then it will manifest into something even more telling, a physical condition that even could be diagnosed. And of course, once it is a physical sensation, we know it is harder then to take your attention from it, but you still can, if you will put it into the arena of the emotional journey. So now, offer to us some hopeful words about this, and let's see how it plays out vibrationally. Move a little closer to, yes?
I see that I can work on it, and I have worked on other things where it's gone away and just made things disappear. And I practiced the same thing on this, and it didn't disappear the same way. And it.
All right, now this is what we were talking about earlier. So just now, in your effort, and it was a good effort, we are appreciating it. It's not easy under these conditions, but we want to show you that you were talking about the action journey again.
Yeah.
In other words, you're talking about what you need to do in order to facilitate that. And what we're wanting you to do is to take the emotional journey. So here's what we mean by that. That would go something like this. I'm really appreciating my physical body, and my physical body is serving me so well in so many ways. And I love the flexibility of my body. Now, do you? Yes. Is there flexibility in your body?
Yes, there is.
My body serves me in so many ways. My body has always been hardy. I've always felt appreciation about the hardiness of my body. In fact, you can even throw in a little aside if you want to. That's why this, frankly, sort of surprises me. This is not who I usually am. This is a departure from who I usually am. Who I usually am is stable and feeling quite good. In fact, I can remember this incident and this incident and this incident and this incident. In fact, even now, even with this, my body is mostly doing extremely well. The majority of my body is feeling very good. I don't even really need to give my attention to this one spot. And this is the thing that we're really wanting you to hear. So here you have a body, and let's, for sake of example, say that 99 out of 100 parts of it are performing and functioning and feeling great, and then you've got this one sort of pain in the neck. And what we want to know is, what percentage of your attention are you giving to the pain in the neck, and what percentage are you giving to the other many, many, many parts that are feeling good, you see. And then you say, yes, but isn't it always the part that hurts that gets the attention? And we say, yes, if you don't know what you're doing. Yes, if you don't care about vibration. Yes, if you want to stay stuck in that place. Yes, if you're doing what so many physical beings do, of finding something that's broken and pushing on it. There's a war against drugs, a war against AIDS, a war against cancer, a war against crime, a war against all kinds of war against terrorists, a war against all kinds of things. And as you are pushing against the thing or even noticing the thing, you just continue the cadence of it, you beat the rhythm of it, you keep it alive in your vibration, and then you say, oh, look, it's still here. And we say, of course it's still here. Of course it's still here. Why not focus upon the other 99, many more than 99 parts that are feeling good? So when you say, I'm hopeful, or when you say, I want a healing, what you're doing when you're being hopeful about healing is you're still beating the drum about what's broken and needs to be fixed. And what we want you to do is get off of that altogether. In other words, we would like to say to you, you don't even need to be hopeful about letting go of this. You've got so many other things that are wonderful. This shouldn't even be an issue relative to the way your physical body feels. In other words, we want you to leave here saying it's an absolute non-issue on my emotional journey. I don't even have to move up the emotional scale on this, because this piddly little thing that is such a small percentage of what I'm really living and what my physical body is really about is not going to take me out. It really doesn't even cause me all that much discomfort. You get a sense of what we're talking about?
I got it. It's fixed.
Good. Then try not to limp as you leave the chair. Yes. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Very good. Yes.